pressing buttons on the coffee machine and slipping a tiny espresso cup underneath the spout. But the ones dressed in khaki camouflage, not the ones made out of toast. "Oh," Hazel said, like she had suddenly had her eyes open to online shopping. "Well, now I'm confused. Is Dean joining the army? I thought he was quite settled with the conservatory building people." "The contract," Becky exclaimed suddenly. "You got the contract." She immediately realised what her sister meant. "You got the contract to the army camp." "I got the contract at the camp," Megan repeated, all high-pitched and excitable. She picked up the tiny cup and swigged the coffee back and won. "I pitched for my absolute life. I'm sure there was a brigadier in the room. Well, he looked like he could be a brigadier if he wasn't already. But they all seemed pretty unmoved at the beginning, even when I mentioned we grow our own vegetables and herbs." Becky smiled at her sister's excitement. It had been Becky's idea to grow their own vegetables and herbs. Megan hadn't been on board straight away, as she was all about costs and bottom lines, until Becky convinced her that quality was more important these days. If customers had enough money to buy sandwiches instead of making them, they would certainly pay an extra few pence for something memorable. And that was where Becky excelled. She made her sandwiches memorable and kept the customers coming back. And it all went completely under Megan's radar. But Becky supposed you couldn't be all over everything when you were the boss, and Becky was, kind of, a lot, hiding it from her.
"So what did you do?"
Shelley asked, adjusting the hairnet they all had to wear over their heads because no one wanted a stray strand in their baguette. Megan started, grinning from ear to ear.
"You got your tits out, didn't you? You got your tits out,"
Shelley announced at the volume of the roar of an Isle of Man TT motorbike. "Shelley," Hazel admonished, "I thought we agreed on what was acceptable language in the workplace."
"Well,"
Shelley began, glove-covered hand pointing whilst holding a flappy yet-to-be-filled tortilla.
"you said the word bitch the other day, and I didn't say a thing about that, and you didn't contribute to the swear box."
She inhaled with authority.
"That's £1 you've cost the Women's Refuge. I hope you can sleep at night in your king size with more springs than those onions."
She pointed to the container Hazel was mixing up. Hazel shook her head and sighed. "I was talking about my neighbour's dog's puppies at the time."
"Puppies, perhaps. She definitely got her tits out, whatever you want to call them."
Megan clapped her hands like she was a schoolteacher losing control of her children. "Ladies, I'm telling a story here." "I want to hear, Megan," Becky told her sister. The army camp contract was a big deal, and if it was as large as she was thinking, it could mean employing a new member of staff, maybe even 2, or starting earlier in the morning. Actually, that last idea didn't really appeal. Becky didn't function well unless she had time for 2 mugs of coffee and a blast of feel-good on Spotify. "I did their assault course," Megan announced, pride shining in her eyes, underneath coming-off mascara and wayward liner. It sounded like she really had been put through it. No wonder she was still perspiring. "What?" Hazel exclaimed, putting down her spoon and paying Megan her full attention.
"Fucking hell,"
Shelley stated before slapping her hand over her mouth. Then she seemed to realise that she'd sworn and now needed another set of gloves. She quickly mouthed a sorry. "I'm with Hazel here," Becky said. "What?" "Well," Megan said, "I could just tell that whatever I said, it wouldn't be enough. I knew we wouldn't be the cheapest option. I'd pushed all the quality, organic, locally sourced angles, and they'd looked more bored than I look when Dean turns on the snooker. So I had to think on my feet," Megan continued. "Don't tell me you did it in those heels," Hazel said, eyes dropping to look at Megan's favourite pair of killer stilettos she always wore to meetings. Black patent leather, luminous yellow sole. They practically spoke, "This maker of bread couture means business." "I did," Megan squealed. "And I had a rather nasty coming together with the cargo net. But I was doing it for It's a Wrap. I was doing it for us, a role-filling family." Becky felt immediately warm inside. She loved it when Megan was like this. It proved that there was a little part of her that was still a team player.